Licensure Examination for Teachers. Subject: Principles of Teaching, Educational Technology, and Curriculum Development. Professional Education, for both elementary and secondary. Topic: Instructional Planning and Lesson Design. Question number 1. Which component of a lesson plan, based on common Philippine standards, like the DO number 42, Series 2016 format, explicitly answers the question, what should the learners be able to do, know, or appreciate after the lesson? A. Procedure. B. Content. C. Learning objectives, or competencies. D. Reflection. Correct answer: C. Learning objectives, or competencies. Why C is correct? Learning objectives are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, SMART statements that define the intended results of the instruction, focusing on the measurable change in the learner's knowledge, skills, or attitude. Why the wrong answers are wrong? A. Procedure. Describes the activities or steps, the how, not the intended outcome. B. Content. Describes the subject matter or topic, the what, not the desired change in the learner. D. Reflection. Is the self-assessment by the teacher after the lesson, not a pre-stated intended outcome. Edge knowledge. Think intention. The objectives are your target. The question asks what the learner will be able to do, which always points to the verb in the objective statement. Question number 2. When writing learning objectives, which cognitive process level, according to Bloom's revised taxonomy, requires students to break down a concept into its component parts and understand the relationship between those parts? A. Remembering. B. Understanding. C. Analyzing. D. Evaluating. Correct answer: C. Analyzing. Why C is correct? Analyzing involves taking knowledge apart and exploring the relationships. Verbs include compare, contrast, differentiate, break down, and examine. This is the level that goes beyond simple comprehension. Why the wrong answers are wrong? A. Remembering. Retrieving, recognizing, or recalling knowledge, e.g., define, list. B. Understanding. Constructing meaning from instructional messages, e.g., explain, summarize. D. Evaluating. Making judgments based on criteria and standards, e.g., critique, justify. Edge knowledge. Think separation. The key phrase is break down into component parts. When you break something down to study its structure, you are analyzing it. Question number 3. Which of the following learning objectives is the most appropriately written based on SMART and ABCD, audience, behavior, condition, degree, criteria? A. Students will appreciate the value of honesty. B. Students will be able to solve basic algebra problems. C. Given a 10-item quiz, grade 7 students will correctly solve at least 7 out of 10 linear equations. D. Students will show improvement in their mathematical skills. Correct answer: C. Given a 10-item quiz, grade 7 students will correctly solve at least 7 out of 10 linear equations. Why C is correct? This objective meets all SMART criteria and the ABCD criteria. Audience: A. Grade 7 students. Behavior: B. Correctly solve, observable action. Condition: C. Given a 10-item quiz. Degree: D. At least 7 out of 10, measurable criterion. Why the wrong answers are wrong? A. Appreciate is not easily measurable, not M. It's an effective objective that needs a behavioral indicator. B. Lacks a specific condition and degree, how many, how well. D. Show improvement is vague and lacks a measurable degree, not M, not D. Edge knowledge. Think measurability. The degree, D, component is the most crucial for exam questions. An objective is well written only if you can quantitatively measure success, e.g., 90% accuracy, 7 out of 10, within 5 minutes. Question number 4. In the standard lesson procedure, the initial phase where the teacher links the new lesson to prior knowledge, presents an engaging activity, or asks a thought-provoking question is called the A. Application, or deepening. B. Motivation, or review. C. Abstraction, or analysis. D. Assessment. Correct answer: B. Motivation, or review. Why B is correct? The motivation, review phase is the opening segment designed to activate students' prior knowledge, review, and arouse their interest, motivation, to prepare them for the new lesson. It sets the stage for the instruction. Why the wrong answers are wrong. A. Application. The stage where students use the learned content in new, practical ways, near the end. C. Abstraction. The core stage where the main concepts are discussed, analyzed, and synthesized, the middle. D. Assessment. The final stage of measuring learning outcomes. Edge knowledge. Think green light. The first step of the procedure is to engage the students and bridge the gap to the new topic. Motivation is the starting point that generates interest. Question number 5. The strategy of ensuring that the key concepts of a subject are taught repeatedly across different grade levels with increasing depth and complexity is known as A. Vertical articulation. B. Horizontal integration. C. Scaffolding. D. Spiral curriculum. Correct answer. D. Spiral curriculum. Why D is correct. A spiral curriculum, pioneered by Jerome Bruner, revisits the same subjects or themes at intervals, with each encounter increasing the level of complexity, breadth, and application. This design is fundamental to the K-12 curriculum. Why the wrong answers are wrong. A. Vertical articulation. Ensuring smooth progression of content between grade levels or educational stages. It is the result of the spiral design, but the design itself is the spiral. B. Horizontal integration. Linking content across different subjects at the same grade level, e.g., linking math and science in grade 5. C. Scaffolding. An instructional technique of providing temporary support, not a curriculum design structure. Edge knowledge. Think revisiting, growing. When the concept is repeated but made more complex each time, it follows a spiral path. Question number 6. Teacher E is conducting a lesson that is highly cognitive and requires deep focus, abstract concepts in philosophy. If the total lesson time is 60 minutes, which allocation principle is most suitable for the motivation, abstraction, discussion, and assessment phases? A. Motivation, 20 minutes, abstraction, 20 minutes, assessment, 20 minutes. B. Motivation, 10 minutes, abstraction, 40 minutes, assessment, 10 minutes. C. Motivation, 5 minutes, abstraction, 50 minutes, assessment, 5 minutes. D. Motivation, 15 minutes, abstraction, 30 minutes, assessment, 15 minutes. Correct answer. B. Motivation, 10 minutes, abstraction, 40 minutes, assessment, 10 minutes. Why B is correct. For a highly cognitive, discussion-heavy lesson, abstraction, the core teaching phase should consume the largest portion of the time, approximately 60% to 70%. Motivation and assessment are necessary bookends, but should be concise. 40/60ths of a minute is 66.7%, which is the optimal time for core instruction. Why the wrong answers are wrong. A. Too little time for discussion, too much time for motivation and assessment. C. The motivation and assessment are likely too rushed to be effective. D. The abstraction phase is too short for deep philosophical discussion, 50%. Edge knowledge. Use the 60% 20% to 20% rule, approximate. The core instruction, abstraction must always take the majority of the time, at least half, often 2/3. The opening, motivation, and closing, assessment, conclusion, should be brief and focused. Question number 7. A teacher prepares a simplified, week-long plan outlining the key learning competencies and resources needed for an entire unit of study. This type of planning is generally referred to as A. Daily lesson log, DLL. B. Unit plan, or resource unit. C. Detailed lesson plan, DLP. D. Course syllabus. Correct answer. B. Unit plan, or resource unit. Why B is correct. A unit plan aggregates a series of related lessons, often spanning several weeks, around a central theme or major topic, detailing objectives, content outline, resources, and assessments for the whole sequence. Why the wrong answers are wrong. A. DLL and C. DLP. These are daily plans, focusing only on a single, day-long lesson. D. Course syllabus. The broadest level of planning, detailing the entire semester per year, usually found in tertiary education. Edge knowledge. Think scope. The keyword is entire unit of study, usually spanning days or weeks. The scope is broader than a single day, DLP, but narrower than a whole course, syllabus. Question number 8. The principle that requires a teacher to provide various formats for the content, visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and multiple ways for students to demonstrate their learning is a key element of A. Backwards design, B. Integrative teaching, C. Differentiated instruction, D. Direct instruction. Correct answer, C. Differentiated instruction. Why C is correct? Differentiated instruction is the pedagogical framework for adapting the content, what is taught, process, how it's taught, and product, how learning is assessed, to meet the diverse needs of individual learners, interests, readiness, learning profile. Why the wrong answers are wrong? A. Backwards design. A planning framework starting with desired results, not an instructional delivery method. B. Integrative teaching. Linking multiple subjects, not catering to individual learning styles. D. Direct instruction. A specific, structured method, typically not characterized by multiple formats for content, product. Edge knowledge. Think flexibility, variety. When the teacher adjusts the three components, content, process, product, to meet individual needs, it is the definition of differentiation. Question number 9. A teacher's lesson objective is, students will analyze the socio-economic factors that led to the Philippine Revolution. Which assessment activity would be most aligned with this objective? A. Students will define socio-economic factors. B. Students will create a timeline of key events during the revolution. C. Students will write an essay explaining how economic disparity and social class influenced the uprising. D. Students will list the names of the key Filipino revolutionary heroes. Correct answer, C. Students will write an essay explaining how economic disparity and social class influenced the uprising. Why C is correct? The objective uses the verb analyze, Bloom's C3, C4. The assessment must also require analysis. Writing an essay that requires explaining influence shows the student can break down the factors and demonstrate the relationship between them in the outcome. Why the wrong answers are wrong? A. Assesses remembering, understanding, a lower cognitive level. B. Assesses applying, remembering facts, not analysis. D. Assesses remembering facts, recall. Edge knowledge. Think alignment of verbs. The verb in the objective, analyze, must match the verb, skill required in the assessment, explaining, examining, comparing. If the verbs don't align, the instruction is flawed. Question number 10. Which instructional planning model advocates for starting the planning process by first identifying the desired results, or learning outcomes, and then determining the acceptable evidence of learning, assessment, before finally planning the learning activities? A. Traditional planning model. B. Backwards design, Wiggins and McTighe. C. ADDIE model. D. TABA model. Correct answer, B. Backwards design, Wiggins and McTighe. Why B is correct? The backwards design model, or understanding by design, UBD, reverses the traditional planning sequence. The three stages are: Stage 1. Identify desired results, objectives. Stage 2. Determine acceptable evidence, assessment. Stage 3. Plan learning experiences and instruction, activities. Why the wrong answers are wrong? A. Traditional planning model starts with activities and materials, then objectives, then assessment, the reverse of UBD. C. ADDIE model, a systematic instructional design process, analyze, design, develop, implement, evaluate, often used for corporate training programs, not typically for daily lesson planning. D. TABA model, a curriculum design approach focusing on teacher involvement in generating concepts and structure. Edge knowledge, think endgame first. The core logic is: start with the goal, desired results, and work backwards. This is the key distinguishing feature of the backwards design model. If this video gave you an edge, sharpen that like button and subscribe to stay ahead.